Hello and welcome back to Aston Martin for the final time in Season 3 Abu Dhabi on track. Now, one thing to play for, that's basically just Mick. Just a reminder though, as of next week the format changes because there's not all that much time until F1 Manager 23 comes out, and of course we're all going to be going fully on that. I will just say on that front, I do intend to do a separate stream and a separate YouTube series on that, and I'm kind of looking at other ways to change the format up a little bit YouTube-wise to maybe make it a little bit snappier. But for now, Aston Martin's still got some journey to go. I do want to show you a few more years in this, even if it is F1 22, of course, and probably most people have got further than I have at this stage. So, but I would like a little bit more of a taste of what it feels like to get that little bit further. So, over the next few weeks, we'll be doing a season per week. Now, I'll bring you back twice, once kind of about halfway, once towards the end. But I will be not bringing you the same two Grand Prix every single time. I will not be bringing, say, Silverstone and Abu Dhabi. I'm likely only ever going to do Abu Dhabi for the absolute last one. For seasons 4, maybe 5, I think we'll get to season 6. But for 4 and 5, I'll probably bring you back around the point where we could win things, essentially. And then the first half, we'll just pick a random one. I think for the first one, in Season 4, it's going to be likely on the earlier side of halfway. Probably actually quite early on, as a sort of, this is where we are this year, early-ish update. I'm thinking around Azerbaijan, because that tends to be a fun race to watch, at least. So, but that's the plan. As for Mick Schumacher, in this race here, he can get Max Verstappen, he can obviously get Charles Leclerc, and don't forget it is, I'm reminding myself as much as you really hear, but it is double points. I will forget, probably, but it is double points. If Max Verstappen does not score, then Charles Leclerc, Mick Schumacher, and even Carlos Sainz could actually get ahead of him, should any of them win. I don't think Charles Leclerc needs to win necessarily, because it's only 27 points. He's actually only a race win behind, even if it wasn't double points. So I think if Mick got second and Max Verstappen didn't score at all, then he would get ahead of him as well, probably. But I'm not quite certain on the maths there. However, Mick getting third, 7 points. That's easily done. So Mick, let's not mess things up here, and I'll see you for qualifying. Right then, practice sort of gotten through. I'm a little annoyed with Mick. Mick crashed on 99% track optimization, 1% away from him being called in prematurely just because I didn't want to risk it as soon as they got to 100% because crashes can happen here. He called my bluff on that front. Thankfully, 99 is still obviously playing enough to get 15 out of 15. The one issue with Mick, though, is the fact that last race, his crash took his only competent gearbox down to 50%, which I'm not fully certain is enough to get through a race without it becoming a problem. The saving grace, you may notice before I scrolled there, Max Verstappen has a penalty. Also, good job, I made more front wings. I'm going to have to take a new gearbox. Do I run a 50% gearbox? It's worth noting, the gearbox he was using was at 46%. It got to 39% by qualifying 3, so that was 7% in 2 practice sessions, which is longer than a race distance. I think this will make it. The issue comes if he has an incident like he did in Brazil where it will damage it, but it won't destroy it. A 50% gearbox on the final race. Max Verstappen's got a penalty. I think we risk the 50%er. I know a gearbox is only one piece, but I think the gearbox is 10 places. It weirdly doesn't tell you what the penalty is. I wish it did. Get the boys out immediately and we'll see what they can do. That is Bottas sort of in the way. Fairly high degradation here. 13% on 1 round of 3 outlap, actual lap, in-lap. Ricciardo with a stonking time there. Gasly feels fine. The Alfa Romeos have turned it, by the way. There was one point in practice 3 where Zhou Guanyu was top of the timings. I think he still finished second or third. Gasly was second in the end. I think he finished third or fourth. I nearly zoomed through these laps here. I think Mick will be fine, but there are some big hitters behind him that have me concerned. Hamilton's gone 3/10 off Verstappen and Ocon's in the bottom 5. Both Mercedes are behind him. Both Alfa Romeos are behind him, and I think they've got pace. Leclerc's behind him. Magnussen can pull out a qualifying time. Norris is behind him. Ricciardo's ahead of him. So there's danger, and I've not sent him out. Oh, got him ahead of Magnussen behind Vettel. Okay, so he's not going to be last across the line, but he's going to be close to it. Crikey, he was close to actually not making it there. AI ran it close. Thankfully, he's got a lot of free air to drive in here. Faster first sector, I think he's going to be okay. I will just say, as this lap's being completed here, I had another computer crash during the recording for qualifying 1, so it was fine. I just restarted everything. But that's the second crash in 2 recordings, and it's only happened since the latest Windows update, so I'm thinking it's related. So, fingers crossed, it's not going to be a problem going forward. Mick's 15. Magnussen's behind him. Magnussen would have gone ahead of him. Mick would have been out if I hadn't sent him again. Vindicated. That gearbox actually might be a problem. I should have given him a new one and taken the penalty. If Mick doesn't qualify top 10, this is going to be a problem. Leclerc was 15. Well, that's going to have hindered both of them. That yellow flag would have only hurt Mick and Mick alone. Leclerc's back in the top 10 as well. Right, we try and make sure we get behind a fast car. That's a Ferrari. I can see a Ferrari. Let's get Gasly in as early as possible. Whilst Gasly's obviously in the more perilous position of 50. Verstappen was 40. Verstappen had a problem. I think he may got caught on us on his lap, because I think we got caught on him slightly as well. So I think we may have actually hindered each other a little bit. Gasly's obviously had the spin in the first place anyway, so his lap was ruined regardless. But I think Gasly and Verstappen got caught on each other on their respective flying laps. I mean, I'm going to presume Gasly's done a faster first sector because I think he spat in the first sector. I mean, Gasly's irrelevant, quite frankly, in this whole shebang, but it'd be nice to have him at the front so that we could then team orders him with Schumacher at the end if necessary. I'm not really on board with him, am I? But that's the end of the second straight here. Where did Gasly spin? It was the reprofiled end bit, wasn't it, of sector 1 or the beginning of sector 2. I don't know where the line is. Well, Gasly's on the purple middle sector despite being behind Albon, so I think he's getting a hell of a slipstream actually at this point. Mixed on a better middle sector as well. This is good news. I think everyone's actually going faster. Leclerc's only 9th. Leclerc's only 10th. Mixed across the line. Leclerc's 11th. Mixed in the top 10. That's important. Gasly won Bottas with a really good time there. Right, mix on used tyres. Both are on used tyres. I don't know why I said mix on used tyres there. They're both on used tyres. As Magnussen will get past on a straight, I think. Sainz could be a problem for Mick. Interesting. Right, pop the Q3 set on both, and I don't really know what happened. More hindrance than I thought, I guess. Trying to work out who's actually already gone. Has the Ferrari gone? No, he hasn't. Bloody Albon. The other Red Bull hadn't gone yet. I thought it wasn't going, to be honest, and I wanted to get him make a slipstream. Gasly might not get pole here. Or what I should say is Gasly's chances of pole might be massively hindered by Albon, or they could be helped by Albon here. Albon isn't biblically slow this week. Like, Doohan seems to have had the qualifying pace out of the AlphaTauris recently. But we'll go on board properly this time. Mick's currently ahead of Pierre, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Problem is, of course, the start, because how do you prioritise Mick then? Off the start line. I can't tell him to stay behind him. Gasly better first sector. That's what we want to see. Mick a better first sector as well. That's what we want to see. Fresh tyres, it should be the case, but not always. Of course, that could just be 1,000th better. We don't know. I said it last time. I think I saw something about intervals last time. So even if it's compared to their best lap, even if it's to their own best lap, I'll take any form of interval, just any form of knowledge of how much faster or slower they're actually going. Purple middle sector from Pierre. Albon is in front of him, towing up those straights. And thankfully not close enough to be a problem in this section, he says. Mixed on a better middle sector as well, but again, that could just be 1,000th. As I don't know what happened there. Verstappen's gone top, Bottas gone second, Hamilton third, Russell up to 5th. A lot of time being made by everybody here. Sainz goes 4th. Gasly goes pole. Mick behind him goes 8th. That was slightly less dramatic, but Perez had yet to cross the line, and Perez did improve, weirdly. But Magnussen already across the line by the time the checkered flag fell. We'll just have to wait for him to get round. Verstappen second. Important to take as many places off Max Verstappen as we possibly can before he gets his penalty, of course, because we don't know how many places that is. Oh, Paul Vettel was last of all. I didn't even notice that. There's no retirement notices in F1 Manager like there is in the regular EA F1. So I don't know who's retiring, if anyone is. It's probably a case of contracts ending. I think it's a toe stop, don't you? I mean, that one stop barely gets you there as well. Good lord. I mean, that's a poorly optimized medium strategy. Pierre does have one fresh set of softs, so I'm tempted to use them, whereas Mick doesn't. So he'll be doing the medium strategy, and we will obviously re-optimize this. There we go. No faffing around there. Obviously no rain, it's Abu Dhabi. Mick starting 7th, so Max Verstappen is behind him.
And it's lights out, and away we go.
All drivers pointed to the right a little bit there. Entirely certain why, but Pierre sweeps around. The Alpine of Hamilton in 3rd. Sainz, Perez, Russell, Mick, everyone off the line, no problems. Verstappen started 12th, it was 10 places. So he's out of the points and Mick is 7th. Okay, well, Hamilton's having a go at Bottas here, but folds in behind. Can't really push the tyres on either of them all that much, especially Pierre, but let's be real, Pierre's already gone. We'll probably give the full lap for Mick, just to see if he can make an inroad on Russell. Overtake failed, didn't really look like he tried it. I'll come back in already, actually, I think. Everything seems to have gone off relatively smoothly. Norris and Ocon 16th, 17th is crazy. Albon is being dropped a little bit as they get around the last couple of corners. We'll take off the deployment as well, because I think they're still going to deploy through this bit regardless. Mick weaving and ducking and dodging, trying to get an angle on Russell into this first corner. I thought he had a nose in there, but not quite. He's in his backside, despite the fact Russell's on soft tyres. Interesting choice, because they're all going to be used soft tyres for the AI, because they don't save them. That's going to be interesting, actually, because they're clearly doing a soft strategy. Pierre only just about gets to his pit stop on a fresh set. So, of course, we've got to factor in potential safety cars in Abu Dhabi. That's the way it normally goes. We normally have a fairly sedate first half, and then it all goes carnage in the second half. But we'll see how this pans out. Still daylight as the race begins, of course, as we'll just have a look at the intervals here. Bottas out of DRS, Verstappen out of DRS. Oh, it's because he was behind Doohan, so Doohan fell out of DRS, and now Verstappen doesn't have it. Whether or not he can make that, because this is all pace being set by the leaders here, which is either Hamilton or Bottas, depending on who's in the front here, although their fighting could be holding everybody up. And because the DRS, I think there's DRS on this main straight. I can never remember if there's DRS on this main straight. I could probably check, can't I? No, there isn't. So there's only DRS on the big old straights at the back, so Verstappen could easily get within 1 second of Leclerc if Bottas does any more holding up on Hamilton. Although it's actually really Magnussen there's a problem because he's fallen off. Max is within a second now. I'm going to have an eye on his back wing here. It's not open, but he's within a second for the second one anyway, as Leclerc fails to make a move on Magnussen. Of course. Bottas down to fourth. There's two drivers get him in the DRS zone, but now Hamilton won't have it. Meanwhile, Gasly's just sodded off. There's not really a lot Mick can do here. One thing I'm not certain about is whether or not the pole lap and the fastest lap are also doubled. Because if the fastest lap is doubled, then I need to get Mick that, just to give him the best chance possible. It's worth noting that Mick is ahead of both of his rivals here, Leclerc and Verstappen. But he's also behind Sainz to such a significant degree that I think Sainz will actually be ahead of him, as Zhou Guanyu does the fastest lap. You what? That entire train did fastest laps. Probably because of DRS more than anything, but I'm just going to bide and wait here.
All okay, obviously.
Take their fuel pushes off because I think Mick's fine regardless of that. Magnussen is holding Leclerc and Verstappen up. Now, whether or not Leclerc's got him here, though. Oh, they both got him. They both got Magnussen. That's not helpful. Verstappen now has 2 points because of double. Leclerc now has 4 points. Seventh is 6 points, right? So it's 12 for Mick as things stand, and unfortunately, 30 for Sainz. And I think Sainz was only... Oh, you could see the live standings. I never knew you could see the live standings. Carlos will go third. It seems, judging by this, pole point and fastest lap point don't get double because Pierre's on an odd number and he had the pole point, obviously. I never knew you could see the live standings. Literally a month away from F1 Manager 23, and that's the first time I've seen that. Wait, Mick got Russell. Am I going to see that overtake? So how did he do this?
There's Schumacher.
Oh, just absolutely mugs him off. George braked way too early, and Mick just goes, thank you. Yes, Crofty, excellent work. The garage is pleased, obviously, and around we go again. Mick now on the back of Perez. How many points does he need to get ahead of Sainz? He needs 9 more points, 10 more points than he's currently on, so he needs 26 if Carlos is third, which I don't think is actually possible from any other position. Yeah, 24 is the next highest with Valtteri. So basically, he needs to be ahead of Carlos. He either needs Sainz to go backwards. Sainz has actually just gone forwards. So he either needs Sainz to go backwards or Mick needs to finish ahead of him. Like, I think if Sainz was fifth and Mick was sixth, that would be fine. But because it's third and fourth, that differential gap is too big if Mick got to fourth. Mick is barely holding on to Perez, but at the same time, Sainz, Hamilton, Perez are all on the soft strategy, and their fighting is actually helping everyone behind. So their soft tyres will go off. So we just bide our time. Pierre's got enough of a lead that I'll just bother to harvest now. I can't risk harvesting with Mick because Russell could just slip past him again, and Verstappen and Leclerc... In fact, the entire train is joined up to Zhou Guanyu and Stroll. Only 1.3 behind, could easily catch the end of it, but I think it's the overall pace compared to Hamilton, isn't it? That's the concern there for him. Carnage up in front, people swapping over altogether. Bottas up to fourth, Sainz down to... Other way around, Bottas up to second, Sainz down to fourth. And in that situation, Pierre only needs one more place. He's only 3 points behind, so I think you get 2 more by getting Perez. So fourth and fifth will be fine. Third and fourth wouldn't. The fine margins of a double points weekend. Someone's gone wide. It's no one in front of us. Sadly, it's someone at the very back, I think. Could be Norris. Yeah, just because he's alarmingly far back from a car that he probably should be as quick as. Is Vettel being held up by Tsunoda? What is going on here? Why is Vettel so slow? Verstappen's now got fastest lap, which is a problem. 5 points there. I mean, it's not going to make a much difference, is it? He needs the race win to get him. Albon has broken the train, which is actually bad news. So I wonder when the tyre differential is going to come into play here. Mick's only 2 tenths off Perez. Let's watch him, not Pierre. Looked at the wrong person there. I think Perez is struggling now. Although so should Sainz and Hamilton. They're irritatingly being pulled by the medium tyres of Bottas. Oh, wrong person. Shout out to me just telling Pierre to go on overtake mode when he's leading. Of course I made Mick. Try and get Perez on these 2 straights. Like I say, first 10 laps, relatively sedate. Mick's got Russell, and that is literally it for our 2 drivers. I need Leclerc to get Verstappen, really. Perez weaving. He's not actually used his deployment, but he is on this straight. Mick, go the other side. Go the other side, Mick. Go the other... That's it. That's better. Perez out of a second. You may have failed the overtake, but you forced him out of DRS. Just keep the pressure on him through this section so he doesn't get that caught up, and you might be all right. This move would secure him third if it was to finish the way, well, finish that way, basically. Problem is, of course, then he's got to get caught up to Bottas, but Perez, just over a second behind Hamilton. I'm not going to tell Mick to use ERS this time, because I don't think Perez will have DRS. He won't. And he's just on the fringes of it enough that I think if Mick was to get past, he would actually break that 1 second point just by virtue of overtaking in the first place. Mick, that's not overtaking. What are you doing? Verstappen got Albon. Okay, I will tell you to use it this time because you are making a dog's dinner of overtaking. There we go. Right, we can push the fuel again.
You can stop, lift and coast. Yeah, copy.
Full deploy.
Use energy.
Get closed up. But enough of a buffer between you and Perez that even if he has DRS, which he will do, it's not really going to make any difference. Them squabbling, nearly got him back in DRS range by himself there. He is now. Oh, Sainz got Hamilton. Gasly's got a problem here. Mick gets fastest lap. Gasly's got a pit problem. Although that being said, it's 2 laps till he should pit. He's still on 55% tyres. And all the other soft runners should probably get gone by then as well. Because I think I pushed his pit up a lap because I was concerned about tyre wear. I'm not sure if Perez had DRS there. He does have DRS still, but he won't this time round. So despite the fact they've got no soft tyres left, really, Sainz still just clearing Bottas for good measure. Perez is getting caught back up again too, which is not helpful. Verstappen's joined the train as Leclerc's failed to clear Albon somehow, and now he's 4 seconds behind. I mean, it's good for making on the Leclerc fight. The Verstappen fight seems done, quite frankly, because Verstappen is getting back through relatively easily. Well, Sainz is an absolute sitting duck because he doesn't have tyres or DRS, and I can't harvest because they've still got enough tyres to make it work as Sainz gets Bottas back again. As Mick's making Hamilton think he's under pressure. It's the optimal pit stop for Gasly, but he's still on 49% tyres. So I am concerned there. So Hamilton's just dropped off Sainz and Bottas a little bit, although got caught back up in that corner. Gasly's got a 4-second lead here. Leclerc's still not got Albon. He's just got him, finally. And Albon's got him back. Okay, so they're all pitting now. We'll box Gasly this time. Bottas is on mediums, do not forget here. I'm going to presume he might as well burn these tyres. Verstappen is outside DRS range of Mick here. I think he'll still get caught up because, oh, mind you, he's on soft tyres as well, so he might be feeling, oh no, he's on medium tyres as well. But I think with DRS, Mick could probably stay with these guys. I could push fuel if I have to. I think Sainz is going to pit here, which is the problem. Yeah, because he hasn't got Bottas. And unfortunately, Verstappen did get that full second back on him, which is annoying. Pit window's active, so I'm just going to go aggressive on his tyres. Gasly's come out 3 seconds behind Ricciardo, which is a nice little buffer, and I don't want to be pushing those tyres. Right, so it's mixed pit stop this lap. We'll go full attack on these tyres this lap. Yeah, without DRS, he's lost about 2/10 on Bottas. So he's not that much slower, really. Leclerc and Ocon come out way down the order. Gasly's going to get stuck on the back of a train that starts with Zhou Guan Yu. Mick's held Max up, which is good. Annoyingly, he would have been within DRS range at the end of this lap, I think. But Mick pits ahead of Bottas and Verstappen. Of course, because I pushed their strategies up. And comes out behind Hamilton. Ooh, and Russell, actually. Because they pitted earlier. But he comes out in Russell's DRS. So if you can get Russell straight away, Mick, that would be lovely. And you have. They may be fighting a bit more than I would like. If you can push onto the back of Norris and get within his DRS and don't let Russell through, that would be superb. Unfortunately, that's not happened. He's in his DRS now, so I just need Russell not to make this overtake, and we're golden. Yeah, so Gasly, unfortunately, has caught the back of this train. And now we've got to wait for the actual medium runners to go onto their normal strategy and pit. But Mick got Norris while we weren't looking, so we'll wash that one through. I imagine it's just DRS. Round the outside. Crucially there, George Russell wasn't capable of getting past as well. So Norris is now going to hold him up. We'll take that. That's perfect. Norris is now pitted. Damn it. Never mind. Russell held up to the tune of 7/10, and that was it. Unfortunately, Mick is too far behind Sainz and Hamilton to get closed up, I think. I don't really have anything to burn with him, sadly. Looks like some people are pitting now, so Gasly's going to get Ricciardo regardless. Sector 3's had an incident, as it is Valtteri Bottas, who has spun and has been forced to wait. Sometimes it works in your favour as well, of course. Zhou Guan Yu dips, and only Zhou Guan Yu dips, unfortunately. Verstappen leading, but Verstappen hasn't pitted, and Gasly is 10 seconds behind. Mick's not that much further back. I think Russell may get him, though. Perez pitted later than him, and Perez is 10th, as Gasly gets all of that lot now, and I think can just drive off. Russell's failed to make an overtake stick on the first one. 2 positions. Of course it was, yeah, it's 2 and 1. So Magnussen overtaking Jack Doohan, I think that is, on the outside. Pierre gets them both on the inside. Both on mediums, both yet to pit. Is that Ocon with them as well? No, it was Hamilton, who of course has pitted. So Bottas is 19th. How has he come back there? Why did he not come in between Albon and Stroll? That was a 5-second gap there. As those three now pit anyway. But that will hopefully put a buffer between Gasly and Hamilton. It has done. I was hoping it'll get them caught up. But the important thing here, to leader, Verstappen. Verstappen's likely to come out in 8th, sorry. I know how to do maths. As Gasly spun. Irrelevant for the race, really. But if anything, it helps Mick. How have you done this? He gets back out ahead of Perez, crucially, so he's still going to be ahead of Verstappen, all things considered, as he's not really got the drive. Push his fuel, get on the back of Russell. Make Russell think, at least. As Verstappen now pits. That's way too late for Verstappen. He's going to have marginally better tyres than everyone else, of course, who's now pitted onto some people. Well, better than Mick's anyway, but Mick's going to clear him easily. Gasly's going to clear him easily. He's going to come out behind Perez, ahead of Stroll, right? That's where we thought. He is 1.5 seconds behind Perez and Albon, so he will get caught up there. Right, so Mick's been taken by Russell here, which is actually good news for him because I'll harvest up behind him. Albon, what are you doing, sunshine? Well, I thought pushing Pierre's fuel would actually just drive him away from Albon, but apparently not. I'll happily sit behind Russell for a few laps, especially if he gets him caught up. I'll see if Russell actually makes any inroads on the two ahead. He doesn't actually, he's actually going slower. Mick's going to need to do a bit of fuel conservation as well, so let's get that done whilst overtaking. Let's have a check-in with the standings, because I think Carlos is second, isn't he? So, yeah, Mick's still third, 7 points behind. Pierre also getting less points now. Ferrari will get Red Bull as things stand. AlphaTauri will get McLaren. I think they're closing up to Russell. I'll let Mick conserve until it gets to minus 0.0. We should be able to get that last tiny bit back before the end of the race. No problems whatsoever. But Mick's sticking with him. There we go. You may be unleashed now, Mick, if you so desire. I'm kind of just waiting for Mick to get the overtake done on the first one. If Mick can get the overtake done on the first one and then go full deploy on the second, push that extra 0.1 as well while we're at it. I'm kind of hoping this can get them closed up that little bit more. Well, I wasted all that fuel and it's not really made a difference. Russell's done the fastest lap now as a result. God damn it. Ahead, those hard tyres are going to be marginally worse than... not that much worse than Mick's. That's a pity. Oh, Albon spun. I did wonder what happened there. Well, Gasly had done the fastest lap, but it looks like Verstappen got it straight away. So the good news is, Pierre's making Russell think now. So Mick can utilise a little bit of pace. Still not had a safety car, so brace yourselves for the second half, folks. That's when they turn up, when you least want them to. Is second and third enough? No. If Mick got fastest lap, it would be, because I don't think Carlos Sainz has won a race, and Mick has. Oh, Carlos has won a race, unfortunately, but I think the overall countback would be in Mick's favour, because he has 10 podiums. Pierre's pit window is in 1 lap. Right. Mick might be behind there, so Mick will get George back, I think. He does. Now let's get Pierre interested in George. Let's force George off the back of Mick. They're only 1.6 seconds behind Hamilton and Sainz, so we think we'll pit first as well onto mediums. Sector 3. It's just a wide, that's all. I think it's Norris again. Oh yeah, Pierre, keep interested in George here. Yes, boys. There we go. And hopefully that gives the Mick the breathing room he needs to get caught up. There's part of me wondering if I should put Pierre ahead to help Mick get caught up, but he's pitting in like 2 laps time anyway. Oh, I don't know why I'm using your fuel, Pierre. Okay, so Sainz pits. I'm going to let Pierre pass, so then Mick has the DRS. I'm not going to tell Mick to let him pass. I'm just going to work on the assumption that Pierre will do it anyway. As Russell and Perez pit as well. It's Pierre's ultimate lap, apparently, so let's keep Mick in range, shall we? And let him use his DRS. Pierre's in DRS range of Hamilton. This was the play. This was 100% the play. Although Mick is being challenged by Max now as well, for good measure. I might need to get Mick to go aggressive on his tyres as well, just to stay in range. As Hamilton pits as well. Mick takes the lead of the race, but I'm not going to push Mick's tyres. Actually, I might push Mick's tyres because he's pitting next lap, I think. As he comes out in 9th behind Doohan, which is unhelpful, but we'll get him straight away. Zhou Guan Yu, Hamilton's come out in this train as well, for good measure. Verstappen and Mick was always going to be a problem there. For some reason, it's not actually telling me to pit Mick, so I'll do that manually. Hamilton's cleared it and then just driven off, which isn't helpful, as these guys hold up. Pierre, well, he's going to get Zhou Guan Yu. I don't know if he's going to get Ricciardo as well here. He'll get Ricciardo on the second part, I think. Yep, no problems there. 2 seconds behind Hamilton now. Mick pits before Verstappen does. And Mick comes out exactly behind Pierre. He skips that entire train. He's in Pierre's DRS, which I'm going to stop lifting and coasting with Pierre as well for good measure now. So these two should help drift towards Hamilton and Sainz now. Don't forget Schumacher's using a 50% gearbox as well, I think. It's down to 46%. There's a yellow flag. It's not a safety car. Magnussen. Pierre does the fastest lap. He gets it off Verstappen, which is at least nice. If we can get Mick the fastest lap at the end of the race, that would be great. Can't push Pierre's... I mean, I could ruin Pierre's race here. Just try to get them tied up to the back of Hamilton. I think Pierre's faster. Slightly. Yeah, Pierre's doing fastest lap after fastest lap here. Unfortunately, he's only 0.3 faster than them ahead, but They're all massively faster than Max, though. Come on, Pierre, get in Hamilton's DRS. Mixed on the fastest lap now by virtue of being towed. That's important. Right, Gasly, get into Hamilton's DRS. He's in DRS. 12 laps to go. No major crash or incident yet. Pierre goes fastest again, and then Mick goes faster, I think, again after that. Yes, he does. Right, so we're now in Hamilton's DRS. Hamilton's only 2 seconds behind Sainz as well. Max still yet to pit again. Quite a long way to get caught up on Hamilton, although Pierre's done it now. Do you just have the straight overspeed to do this lap? Not quite. Don't really have. I mean, I could harvest with both of you whilst we're on the back of Hamilton. There's still 10 laps to go here. I mean, I'll stay on board just in case you'd make the overtake anyway, which he does, but doesn't have DRS on the second part, so Hamilton just goes straight off there. So if we can harvest up a bit of ERS here, there's a bit of fuel now on both of them. There will be on Pierre by the end of this race. Verstappen's still not pitted. Is he just trying to one-stop this? Oh, there was a one-stop strategy, wasn't there? Which did put both tyres into the ground by the end of their stints. I think Verstappen's trying to one-stop this. It's not going to work in his favour, because Sainz is only 6 seconds behind and there's still 9 laps to go, 10 including this one. Importantly, Pierre didn't get Hamilton on that straight, so he still has DRS on this straight despite harvesting. I don't think he's going to stick himself out wide enough here. Okay, stop harvesting now. Just get him. Mick has a little bit more ERS, so if Pierre gets him on this one, let's see if we can get Mick through as well. Nope, that doesn't work. I should have deployed Gasly as well to fend off Hamilton. That's what I should have done. I think Gasly's faster than Hamilton, so I think he'll get caught up to Sainz. Let's see if we can get both of them past Hamilton. Yes, there we go. He's on the inside, Mick, here, so we think he should have it by the end of this. Oh, Mick, I thought you had him. Gasly's going to get into DRS range of Sainz. I need Gasly to get place. I need to get Sainz down here. Gasly's in Sainz's DRS. This is now just raw power versus raw power. You can stop deploying. Mick. Come on, Mick. There we go. Yeah, so Gasly got Sainz, but Sainz had the DRS on the second straight. Make this position stick, Mick. There we go. No more battery, but we still got a smidge of fuel, so we can burn that off. So Mick has Hamilton. That's the important thing there. And we're all being towed towards Verstappen, because Sainz is faster than Verstappen at least. Mick's got a little bit more wiggle room on his tyres, as he actually has a nibble at Sainz as well for good measure there, but doesn't make that stick, obviously. I don't know if us fighting is helping Verstappen here. He's 2 seconds a lap slower than Gasly. We'll just put Sainz under some pressure here with Mick. Just sort of tyre-wise, just let him have a little bit of a nibble there. Sainz is having a look at Pierre. Unfortunately, that's going to not help as... I'm not fully certain what just happened there. We'll rewatch this one. So Sainz doesn't get himself into a position to overtake Pierre, and because Pierre's blocking him, Mick gets through on the inside. Mick's ahead of Sainz. Objective number 1, complete. Unfortunately, Max is in the race, so I don't think seconds on the cards. Unless Max goes off at the end here. Pierre's in Verstappen's DRS as well for good measure now, which is going to help everyone involved. Pierre's got Max, but Max should have DRS on the second straight. Oh, he's actually not got him, interestingly. So we'll do the same strategy that we did to Sainz on Max here with Mick. Last 3 laps, I mean, there's been no safety cars this time, no last minute carnage, but we'll try and keep Max out of the range of Pierre here. Make Max defend. Ooh, there we go. I'm not fully certain what goes on here either, because, I mean, we're not going to see the full highlight, but Mick just had better drive than Max there. Last couple of laps, there's not a lot of tyre wear left in either of these two drivers. Mick's got a little bit more wiggle room, as it's up to Mick to just... It's up to Pierre to kind of pull Mick away from these two, because I think Verstappen is going to be slower than Pierre overall, but there's only 2 laps to go, so I think on the last lap, yeah, Max has still got enough tyres, 30%, apparently. That's enough. So this isn't team orders, but it's going to be effectively team orders. Don't run out of fuel, Mick. I don't know if Mick got fastest lap at the very end there or not, but Pierre had it either way. In fairness, it was a straight fight between the two. It was kind of team orders. Mick might have got Pierre on the previous lap if I hadn't told him specifically to stay behind. So I think Pierre probably would have won it just by getting Mick back on the final lap, but they were fighting each other. They were capable of fighting each other with DRS. So Leclerc was 14th. He's absolutely bottled it at the end there. Perez was 6th. Perez might have got him. Nobody got lapped. No safety cars, but it was still a nice fight. Nice race. Hamilton 5th. Hamilton may have got Russell and Bottas at the very end there. Russell certainly got Bottas, because Bottas didn't score. Well, there's our confirmation in the bottom right there as the achievements come through. Mick Schumacher! I don't know if there's going to be any countback issues, but that'll help the countback. That's what we love to see. A 1-2, Mick on top. Unfortunately, Max still finished 3rd, despite starting 12th. We did everything we possibly could for Mick, even tried to get him fastest lap. Double points. Thank you, Karun, for telling us we had a good bit of strategy there. Mick up 6 places. Pierre technically down 1 because he started on pole. Does get 38 points because he did still get fastest lap, unfortunately. But Max up 9 places. Carlos stays 4th. Other people down places here. Esteban Ocon had a good race, got into 10th from 17th. Daniel Ricciardo 1 stopped his way to 9th. K-Mag 1 stopped his way from 9th to 17th. And Mick does indeed get 3rd. Unfortunately, still a good 14 points shy of Max Verstappen. So Max would have needed... What was he on, 15? He had 2 race wins this year and less podiums. Oh, so if Max was 6th or worse, I think Mick would have got him. Sergio Perez doesn't quite get Charles Leclerc, but he does get knocked behind his teammate. George Russell was already ahead of Valtteri Bottas, actually, but Lewis Hamilton does get Valtteri, splits the Mercs. Alexander Albon pips Kevin Magnussen to 11th. Daniel Ricciardo pips Jack Doohan to 14th, and Tsunoda remains pointless, as Red Bull do stay ahead of Ferrari in the end. Charles Leclerc's absolute bottle. I don't know what happened to Charles Leclerc, actually, in the end. He did 2-stop, didn't he? But got stuck, I think. And AlphaTauri do not get McLaren in the end because of Ricciardo's points. I think when I looked as well, Albon was running quite high because of pit stops too. Albon finished 8th in the end. That might be a development point for Pierre. That's only 200 points off what it was needed. So he might get 200 points from the week. Yeah, it is. Well, I can't do his braking anymore, can I? You know what, that control, I don't like 87 for some reason. It just feels neater to have that as 88. Now, there are big changes. Our technical chief does actually have a point to spend, unfortunately, and does make him 81. I wonder if Pierre Wachet's contract is out in a month as well. Unfortunately, Cardile's got another year on his contract. Still probably going to change him. Weird that there's no kind of celebration for that. Pierre wins that, of course. Pierre Gasly, Max Verstappen, Mick Schumacher in 3rd. As you kind of want to see from a second driver, at least keeping that interesting. And Aston Martin on top there. 727 points. That's a ridiculous margin in the end. Above the board, I would like to extend a very eager congratulations for winning both. 17 race wins out of 22, only 7. Max had 2, which means there was still 5 race wins that weren't Max or us. We can have a look at that. I know Carlos Sainz had a race win. Charles Leclerc had 1 race win. Sergio Perez had 2. Did George have 1? George had 1 as well. So there's your 7 there. It's these 4 drivers. I will click through to the board assessment as our suspension simulator gets refurbed. Financially, we're fine cost cap wise, aren't we? 13 million. That's a lot tighter than I would have liked it to have been, especially as that number's going down next year. There's the official announcement. I'll move out of the way just because, I mean, I'm not really in the way, but all it says is first place on both. Done. Now, this is the interesting thing. Heritage, of course, goes up. Our team rating will go up as a whole, so that might interest those other 2. This is where that enticement period begins. We didn't quite get to 100 tyre changes. I really want that to be a thing. Yeah, so the cost cap comes down by 5 million, and obviously everything goes down 5% as well. We've been preparing for that all year. So if I can do this now, is that going to be enticing enough for... There we go. Open to negotiation. We'll do this now, rather than as part of a... Okay, so we'd like more money, which is fair enough. It was quite a big angry thing, so we'll just go a neat 4 million. Okay, he's neutral on that. He'll probably accept that. Probably could have waited at the end of the year, but never mind. He doesn't look quite well photoshopped onto there. But I presume Red Bull will pick up T, unfortunately. But one interesting thing, actually, to talk about in the off thing. Bono went to Red Bull. Lewis Hamilton's famous race engineer went to Red Bull. Now, I don't know if that happened before or after Lewis left Mercedes in the first place, but Lambiase went to Mercedes, Max Verstappen's. So, and they are both open to negotiation, actually, but I don't know what their contracts are, so I am going to scout them before I actually attempt that. Because Ben Michel is the 4th one. Cronin's not awful, but if I can get either of these 2, if I can get Bono on our team, I will do. But I don't know what his contract is. It just feels weird seeing him in a Red Bull. Well, that completes the season. I will do, obviously, all the off stuff and the first few races of the year. I'll just quickly check the calendar, actually. How far down is Azerbaijan? It's race 8, I think, in this calendar. Or maybe Canada. Canada's always been a bit of a bogey race, so I'll probably bring you back just slightly shy of the halfway point in either Azerbaijan or Canada this time round. I think Britain will obviously be one of them. And maybe the French Grand Prix, because obviously it is a home race for Pierre, provided he's still with us by that point. But we'll probably focus on one of these races over the next 3 seasons, and then I'll bring you back in the run-in in one of these 5 races. Probably Sao Paulo one year, probably obviously Asparina in the final year that we actually do, and then probably in season 4 it'll be, if we are still leading the championships, whichever race we can win it. But if it is looking like we're going to be the dominant team in seasons 4, 5 and 6, then I'll probably bring you back later and later every single year on the assumption that we will win these things. That was actually a lap record for Pierre Gasly as well at the Yas Marina circuit. I'm kind of blocking it as well. I'm blocking it either way I go there, really. I was blocking it there. He also got the US one, the Singapore one this year. Sergio Perez got Japan last year. Barrichello still holds the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Max Verstappen got the fastest lap at his own Grand Prix this year. Pierre Gasly got the fastest lap at Spa. Pierre got the fastest lap at Monaco last season, which is interesting because the car wasn't even good then. George Russell has the fastest lap at Miami, but that's only been 3 years, of course. Pierre has Imola's from this year and Albert Park's. And unsurprisingly, Sergio Perez has the fastest lap at Jeddah. So it's interesting how many Pierre does hold now, but it's not that many when you think about it. Still quite a few heritage fast laps. And Sergio Perez with 2 fastest ones in Japan, and surprised he doesn't actually have Singapore, was considering Jeddah. But that's it from season 3, and that's it from the all regularly scheduled races. I'll see you again during Season 4 for the next time out. Until next time, ta-ra.